Hello and welcome to the Radiate Fitness Podcast with me, your host, Amanda Reedy, mum of two, personal trainer, nutrition and weight management advisor, PE teacher and lifelong happiness advocate. This is a podcast for you, the busy mum, where we'll talk about ways to prioritise your own fitness, health and happiness, because if you feel great, you thrive, and so does your family. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're all having a great week. Today I'm talking about something that I like to call finding your happy. So, what do I mean by this? If I said to you, what makes you happy? Could you tell me? Could you list 5 things, 10 things, maybe 100 things of what genuinely makes you feel happy and content in your life? Or would you really have to think about it? Happiness is considered to be a feeling or a state of satisfaction and contentment. It's often related and connected with well-being and also linked to a positive emotive state. So we have all felt happy. There has been times in our life, I guarantee that every single one of you has felt happy. But sometimes I really think as a mum and as a partner or a wife, we forget about our own happiness in the pursuit of ensuring that everybody else around us is happy. How familiar does that sound? You kind of forget about your own happiness because you're so wrapped up in what everyone else is doing. You're always thinking, are the kids happy? Are they fed? Are they occupied? Are they all right? Is our partner, our husband, are they happy? Are they okay? Are they not okay? What can I do to help them? What about friends or other family members? You're kind of thinking and preoccupied with what's going on around you. We think about, have we got everything done so that other things seem manageable? I know I am a big one for this. I like to plan, I like to organise, I like to know that everything is in the right place for school in the morning. I need to know what meals I'm cooking for the week ahead. Where are we spending Christmas? Who are we spending it with? What do I need to bring? These things kind of consume my mind. I don't know if I'm the only one here, I don't think I am. But I know that as a mum in particular, I get so kind of wrapped up in everything else that is going on around me that I do sometimes forget about, actually, am I doing something that makes me happy? And doing all this sorting out for everybody, does this bring me happiness? Maybe not happiness, but it does give me a sense of calm that allows me to lean into moments that happen in life in a better way and a more positive way. And I think by doing that, that is what makes me happy. And it is moments in particular, those tiny little moments which take you by surprise that I think is what happiness is all about. And as they build up, they all link together to kind of give you what I would maybe think about the idea of a happy life or a happy outlook or being that person who is happy. So last weekend, I'm going to tell you about a lovely time I had. I was lucky enough to meet up with a group of wonderful friends that I used to work with when I was in my first teaching job. So most of them now I've known for about 20 years. I literally cannot believe that it is 20 years ago that I met these wonderful women. And now, although most of us have gone our separate ways in terms of our jobs and our careers, and most of us don't work together anymore, a couple of my friends still do, which is amazing. The bond that we forged in these friendships at this time are so long lasting that it's one of those amazing situations where if you haven't seen somebody for so long and then you meet up with them again, it's like you've never been apart. So when we were all together in our 20s and our 30s, we would go out all the time. We would go out not thinking that it was a thing or an issue or even like a big to do. We'd just go out because that's what you do when you're younger and you don't have responsibilities, you don't have the kids. You just kind of like live for yourself and enjoy yourself as much as you can. That seems to be, I think, when you're in those wonderful 20s and 30s, that for most of us, well, I say most of us, things have changed now, but maybe during that time, the time when I was growing up, the time when I was like my first job, moved out, living with friends, it was a frivolous, exciting time, just full of fun. So with this group of friends, we used to go out after work on a Friday regularly. we were reminiscing when we got together. So we were so excited. We got a whole weekend together. We had a night away. We had dinner. We had wine. We had Prosecco, cocktails, you name it, chocolates. We talked. We caught up. It was amazing. But during this time, we were reminiscing about a place that we used to go to on a regular occurrence on a Friday night after work. This place was a really cool bar. It used to be an old Turkish bath, and where you would sit was actually in like the drained part of the bath. So we would be sat in this bath, drinking cocktails and laughing about what the kids had said to us at school that day, because we were all teachers. So we would talk about what they did, what they said, who'd had the worst day, who'd had the funniest occurrence. Teachers talk about a lot of stuff, especially during this time when we used to go out a lot more. And then afterwards, we'd be like, oh, who fancies some dinner? So we go for dinner, then we go for more drinks, and we'd even go out dancing. And you wouldn't have to make it a thing. It wasn't a big plan. You wouldn't be like, right, we'll see you here, we'll go out, we'll do this. It was just like, oh, should we just go and have a dance somewhere? And we did. And one of these outings even consisted of me launching myself at some poor unprepared stranger when I was absolutely convinced that we were going to nail the Dirty Dancing lift, as on the radio, not the radio, on the speakers in this club that we were at, the I've Had the Time of My Life blared out. And it didn't work out so well, and I think I ended up face down on the floor. However, my trying of being baby and dirty dancing didn't come to fruition, but it was fun. It was a happy time, and it was something that we did without thinking. And I think as you age and as you kind of grow and change and you take on different roles within your life, moments of happiness, which were so constant, I would say, during that time, but the moments of happiness were like going out and it was making these memories without any inhibitions and without any kind of worry or logistical arrangements stuck in your head, which you look back on as such fond times. And they were happy times, they were amazing times. And now is also, for me, I would say, a really happy time. However, the happiness and what is the happy during these two times are so vastly different that you just can't quite believe it. And I don't think this is a bad thing. I actually think it's a good thing. It's an exciting thing. It shows you how different things can make you happy, maybe at different times of your life, maybe even at different times of the day. What could be something which is a source of happiness could not be a source of happiness at another time. But it's really interesting in starting to think about intentionally what makes you happy. So when I was with this group of friends over the weekend, reminiscing about our lives now and the challenges of mothering, we're all mothers, we've all got families, how things have changed and how we are, and talking about all these things together was just amazing, because there's been a process there, a time lapse where we've all changed over time, and we just spoke about everything. And talking about everything was amazing, and it wasn't all flowers and roses and happy. There was lots of things going on. Lots of people had different things going on in their lives, and we spoke about them all. But to still have a connection with a group of people that you've known for so long, to still be laughing pretty much non-stop for 2 days, it felt like a massive recharge, a reset. And I think it really filled up my happy energy, so that when I return to my now more normal, more regular life of looking after my children, of working, of getting the food ready, of sorting out the house, of all the day-to-day things, it's these little mini breaks, like a little holiday, which absolutely fill you up and enable you to give more of yourself during the more mundane parts of the day. So what I'm trying to say here is happiness can be a multitude of things. There can be happiness in the small moments. There can be happiness in the bigger moments. And what seems like a normal thing to have happened one time or one time in your life now seems like a great big extraordinary adventure at a different time of your life. So for example, like as I just said, going out every week on a Friday after work to now going out once in a blue moon, once every couple of months, or going away, or something completely different, which is completely out of the ordinary. Our happiness is really fundamental to our well-being, and well-being and happiness are two terms which can often be used really interchangeably. For us to have positive well-being, it's been suggested that we need to have a balance across 6 key areas. This includes our physical fitness, emotionally, how we cope with everyday life, socially, how we communicate, relate, and engage with others, intellectually, how we use and expand our knowledge and our skills, how we learn or when we learn stuff and how that fills us up, economically, in the way that we are able to meet basic needs and feel secure within our surroundings, and finally, spiritually, how we experience and integrate meaning and purpose into our lives. If we can have some kind of balance across these different areas, then it suggests that our well-being and our happiness should be greater. Our well-being can be perceived positively and negatively, and this depends on how we cope within these different areas. If we can fulfill our personal and social goals and feel we have a sense of purpose in society, our mental well-being is enhanced and it makes us feel good. It makes us feel happy. And I think sharing this with other people, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's your colleagues, can really also help to boost that emotional, positive well-being that we feel. Interactions with the outside world, as well as our feelings internally in terms of our attitude to life, can contribute to our well-being, our health, and our happiness. Therefore, it's really important to try and be mindful of the need to let go of the fact that sometimes external things will happen regardless. But what it is how we then go on to choose to cope with these external situations that can determine how we feel. So often I say with my children, my little boy can come home from school going, "Oh, mummy, I've had a bad day." And I'll be like, Why? What happened? And we try and talk through these big emotions that he's feeling. And it turns out there was actually one thing that happened to him in the day which affected his whole day. And I think we've all been there. You can have a day where something completely throws you and it knocks it out of the park. You don't know what's going on. And it really can make you feel just anxious or sad or something else completely. But what I'm trying to do with my son, particularly because he can be quite emotional, is start to think about how we can cope with these situations. So we talk about this idea of actually, maybe it wasn't a bad day, but there was a bad moment in the day, and thinking about how we can respond to this and make the whole situation that little bit better. I'm not saying here that if you have a negative emotion, or really, I'm not saying that there are negative emotions. If you feel the emotion of, say, sadness for whatever reason, do not ignore it. It's not good for you to try and ignore and mask those emotions. No emotion really is good or bad, although we may, in many situations, perceive it that way. We need to start thinking about how all our emotions are valid. And I think that it's really important that we sit with them and we work out why we are feeling like this and how we can respond better to this if it happens again in the future. And I really think that it is this how you respond to given situations that in turn can determine your happiness. It is likely in life there are times when things don't go to plan or something happens which is particularly worrying or sad. But it's how we then meet these situations head on which can determine our overall feelings of well-being and happiness and how we can move forwards. So, what can we do to make ourselves, our lives, and those around us happier? Because let's face it is great to feel happy. It's something that we strive for. And when you feel happy and things feel like they're going away, you thrive. You feel like you're in this emotional flow state and everything seems that little bit easier. So there's so many different things that you can do to try and elevate your happiness. A little while ago, I was given a lovely present from a friend called the 6 Minute Journal. Some of you may have heard of it. It's fantastic. And I really believe it has helped to improve my levels of happiness on a daily basis. If you don't know what the 6 Minute Journal is, it's a journal where you spend 3 minutes on it in the morning and you spend 3 minutes on it before you go to bed. Although for me, if I'm completely honest, I tend to do all of my journaling in the morning, where I spend 3 minutes looking at the day ahead and a few minutes reflecting on what happened yesterday. So within it, you write 6 different things. The first thing is you write 3 things you are grateful for. These can be little things, big things, or they suggest maybe just do like one thing. If there's something you feel really grateful for, elaborate on it, go into it in more detail. You write how you'll make your day great, and you also write a positive affirmation. Then in the evening, what you're meant to do is reflect pretty much on your day. So you talk about a good deed that you did throughout the day, how you will improve, and then finally you write down about 3 wonderful things that you experienced during your day. So this whole journal and this sequencing that you do is underpinned by psychology and science, and it explains, when you read it, it's got lovely explanations of why you write 3 pieces or 3 things that you're grateful for, why you talk about the 3 experiences that you had during the day that you really enjoyed, the positive affirmations, and it talks about why these things are all important. I really recommend you get it. It's a great thing. And also I loved reading about like the theory that underpins it all. So it's something that I really believe has helped me to change my state of mind, because what it's generally helping you to do is to come up with this idea of an attitude of gratitude, which I'm sure is a concept that you've heard, and how you look more positively, or you look and focus on the positive aspects of life more so than the negative aspects. One thing I say to my kids quite often is the more you look, the more you see. I don't know if you say that or something similar. And I'm normally talking about it in regards to something in nature. Quite often when we go out for a walk or on holiday looking at the rock pools, you look at the rock pool and you just see a puddle of water. But actually, if you look at it for a little bit longer, the more you look, the more you see. So me and my daughter in the summer were looking in the rock pools. Couldn't really see much in them, but as we looked, we noticed there was actually some anemones in there with their I don't know what are the wavy parts of the anemones called, I can't remember, but they were like waving around in the water. Then all of a sudden we saw some shrimp swimming around, a couple of fish. The more you look, the more you see. And I think the more times and the more things you see as positive, and that you can draw out the positive in your life, the more positive your outlook becomes too. So the more you focus on the good, the more good you will find in your life. And I really believe that you can do this on a micro, medium and macro level. So this week, the 3 ideas that I'd like you to consider doing, and this is to elevate your happiness, is for you to think about your happiness on each of these levels. So on the micro level, day to day, what makes you happy on a day-to-day basis? What can you do to improve your happiness on a day-to-day basis? On a medium level, think about this slightly broader, so weekly, monthly. Is there anything that you can try? Just a small thing that you could change or you could plan into your weekly and monthly calendar, which is going to light you up and make you feel happy. And then the macro is the big picture. Think about your dream life. What would be the ultimate happiness goal for you? So these things might take a little bit of thinking, but I really promise you it will be so worth it. As if you can implement even one of these things into your life in the next couple of weeks, I guarantee, will feel happier for it. And then obviously that is a winning situation. So idea 1, small everyday moments. What can you do each day that might make you just 1% happier? Could it be something such as really, really incentivizing your children to do something small, like clear their plates from the table every day, and then that's stuck as a habit and it's one thing less for you to do? Would that make you 1% happier? Would it be something like just expressing gratitude? Write down 3 things each day that you are grateful for, or write down one thing that made you laugh. the act of writing down things can be really, really powerful, and then reflecting on them at a later stage can actually show you how great a lot of stuff can be. One year I made a memory jar for my house, and I decided when something funny or warm or happy happened, or we went out and had an adventure that was lovely, I'd write down on a piece of paper and I'd put it in the jar. And then at the end of the year, we opened the jar and we looked through all the different memories as a family, and it was just so lovely. So that is a really simple thing to do. Just before you go to bed, have a jar or a box, whatever, and like a pile of paper and a pen, and just write down quickly a note such as, I don't know, one thing that made me happy was strange scenario. However, my daughter had this wobbly tooth for about 3 months and she wouldn't let us at it. We went swimming and we were in one of those fun pools, and there was an underwater geyser, and just by absolute chance this geyser spurted out and the water knocked my daughter's mouth and her tooth came out, and she was delighted, we were delighted, and it was just a really funny moment, and that went in the memory jar. And when we opened it a little while later and we saw that memory, it made us all laugh, and we were just really pleased that we'd written it down. So something like that is a really nice thing to do, and it's really easy. Other easy things for like those macro happiness moments is every day give yourself 5 minutes to sit in the sun. Obviously in England, very rarely do we see the sun at the moment, or just somewhere quietly on your own with a cup of tea. Drink that cup of tea and savor every moment. That is real moment of happiness stuff. Anything like that. Putting your phone in another room while you have a more intentional conversation with your children or your partner. Tiny little things that you can do each day to make you happy. So ask yourself, what small thing can you do on a daily basis that will make you happy? It could be something different each day. It doesn't have to be the same thing. Or if you want to get into a habit of doing one thing every day, go for it. Up to you. Medium term, so medium regular happiness occurrences. Is there something that you have wanted to do for ages but not got around to it? For example, is it to make a date to see a friend? Is it to take yourself to a spa for an afternoon? Is it to have a monthly or fortnightly dinner date with your partner? Put it in the calendar, write it down, schedule it for yourself, and actually do it. It is so important. And actually, when you do these things and you schedule it in, it is a massive source of happiness. It gives you something to look forward to. And then when you're actually doing it, it gives you so much joy. It could also be something like committing to do exercise. Exercise is one of the best happy things that you can do. And I know some people don't necessarily have a great relationship with exercise, but it releases endorphins. It is proven that these happy hormones are released and instantly can improve your mood and your happiness level. So commit to maybe going running twice a week, or go for a walk once a day for 10 minutes at lunchtime, or going to the gym, or doing yoga. Whatever it is, try and commit to it on a regular occurrence, or just once a week. Whatever, try and do something a little bit more than you do now, and that will boost your happiness. For me, like as I said at the beginning, seeing my friends that I haven't seen for ages brought me so much joy, brought me so much happiness. And I don't go out very often. I don't go out with my friends very often. But when I do, I always think, why don't I do this more often? Why don't I make this more of a priority? But life and being a mum, things just get in the way. So I now really just make the most of these opportunities and relish it when I can. Finally, we're thinking big now. This is my suggestion to you, to encourage you to really think about your dreams. Dream big. Give yourself half an hour. Sit down and think about your future dreams. What would make you the happiest version of yourself? What would you love to do? What have you always wanted to do or see, or where have you always wanted to go? If you could do anything, what is it that you would do? Write it down, picture it, imagine it, feel it. What does it look like? How does it feel? What does it smell like? What are your dreams? Allow yourself to dream. Then, once you've got your dream or what you think would make you the happiest version of you possible, can you start to think and envisage ways to try and achieve this or any of it, or start working towards it? What would you need to do? Where would you start? Is it manageable? Is any of it manageable? Can you start to sow the seed and see if you can go and do these things? Even if you don't do it for ages, or you can't do it, or actually you just think this is a dream, it could make you feel excited and happy, and just kind of like visualizing these things and that they could be a possibility is so exciting. It's so fun. So maybe it might be the start of a journey to take you somewhere that you want to go to, or maybe it's something that you start doing and actually in the process of it you're like, actually I don't want to do this anymore, but there's another opportunity that comes along. Believing that nothing is impossible really, really does make the world your oyster, and it makes happiness yours for the making and the taking. And I really actually do believe that if you put your mind to it, why can't you make the impossible possible? Go out there, live the life that you are meant to lead, and make the most of your time. I know you can do it, and you will be all the happier for it. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and you might go and try and do one of these things, whether it's small, medium, huge, to make you feel a little bit happier. Let me know what it is you try. Let me know what you would love to achieve, and I would love to hear what you get up to. I would love it if you would share this episode with a friend. Follow me on Instagram, and there I hope to share with you more inspiration and actionable ideas for living a healthier and happier life. I hope you have a lovely week.